Water quality is shaping up as a big election issue. The government has opened the door to more intensive dairy farming through loans to irrigation schemes aimed at making sure it continues. In Canterbury, the government went as far as sacking the regional council in order to fast-track planning rules that enabled the region to convert from sheep to more lucrative dairy farming. But these policies have had consequences for the quality of waterways. By 2015, the proportion of rivers in Canterbury that were safe to swim in fell to 67% from 74% 5 years earlier. As part of RNZ's election year series, Is This the Brighter Future?, Conan Young took the pulse of two South Island rivers.
Artist Sam Mann lives with his partner Alison Erickson and their daughter Charlie near the Huranui River in North Canterbury. Last summer, no swimming signs went up here due to cyanobacteria, also known as blue-green algae. Alison says the water quality of local rivers like the Waitohi was already deteriorating when National took power in 2008.
The river had basically disappeared and you'd go for a swim and you'd come up stinking and all the little fish had gone, the cockbullies, and we'd have a pet eel that we'd feed, he had gone, and every corner there was a trout, and that all disappeared several years before 2008, but it certainly hasn't got any better, it's got a lot worse.
She says it's heartbreaking to see these places taken away from them.
I think our whole life was centred around the river. It's almost like, it's a bit of a cliche now, but taking your church away, because we don't go to church, but we would come here and we'd just light a fire like today and have a cup of tea. The kids would play, maybe swim, but that's very sad. That's gone to a large part. To a large extent, we just don't come down anymore. We have to wade through dairy cows to get down to our spots now.
Sam Mann says a rapid increase in dairy farm conversions in Canterbury is clearly behind the degradation of these waterways.
We've got 60,000 cows bleeding into this catchment. That's the equivalent number of bladders to 2 times the population of Christchurch, right? How can this river survive that? We've got 30,000 pigs up the river on the left. We've got everybody brings their stuff to the river to dump into it now, and there's no way this river can survive with more development. Canterbury can't. What's worrying out? Look at Charlie here. I mean, Charlie, when I was her age, my father took me to all the rivers in Canterbury, and we'd go hunting, we'd go camping. Why has she been disenfranchised from that? What right have these people around here to take that away from her? This is her property here, not theirs. So this is why we're angry. This is why we have to keep fighting for this thing.
Hey Charlie, what's your favourite thing about the river? Why would you like to see this place looked after?
So we can swim it and drink it.
On the other side of the Southern Alps, northeast of Greymouth, fly fisherman Trevor Johns is keen to protect some of the country's best fishing spots from a similar fate to that of Canterbury's waterways. Originally from Sydney, he now makes his living running a backpackers in Reefton and taking tourists on fishing trips. He says fly fishing is a big earner for the tiny west coast town.
40% of my clientele over summer would be fishermen, and although I run a backpackers, fishermen aren't like backpackers, who I appreciate, but fishermen come and they stay for days, if not weeks, and in some cases months. Because to fish an area for sport fish, for trout, it's good to get the local knowledge and to stay in the area and know what you're doing.
And so what is it about this area that makes it so good for trout fishing?
Freestone rivers. At the moment we're standing on, as you can see, a whole lot of freestones. That's the food that trout eat. They live underneath the stones, and because the stones are loose, that makes it possible. The climate is great, the water's terrific, and we like to keep it that way if we can.
But Trevor Johns says the fishing in the Little Grey, which flows through a series of dairy farms, is not what it used to be.
I remember going out on just about my first day of fishing on it, and whether the conditions were so perfect or I was doing everything right, I caught, as I say to folks, maybe 100 trout in one day. It might have been only 80, it might have been 120. I just lost count. It was such a fantastic day's fishing, and that's why I started coming back to the area every time after that, because the fishing was so great. I haven't had a good day like that since, let me say.
One day, 4 years ago, he spent a day casting on these waters and did not catch a thing. He says it's hard to say why this happened, and notes stocks have since returned, although not to the same level seen 17 years ago.
Everyone from fishermen like me, to keep clean gear, to farmers, to respect what they put in the river, to everybody who uses the river or even comes in contact with it.
This Australian now calls himself a proud West Coaster. He says most people here realise how special their little slice of paradise is and are keen to protect it.
Awesome. What's it like being out there?
Oh, it's great. In fact, sometimes when you're on your own and it's just out there, there's no better life. There's no better thing to be doing.
In Reefton for Checkpoint, ko Conan Young tēnei.
Thank you, Conan.